Hello, everybody. It's Lydia from Reaching Heights, and I have a special guest today, a woman, a brilliant woman that just found out wears even more hats than I thought. And I mean, truly amazing. I'm like in awe in how she manages it all. And I really think that she lives up to her brand without a doubt. Latina Made Not Maid. Okay, she's going to tell you all about that, but she is an educator, a mom of two. She works for a nonprofit that helps children learn literacy, as well as the founder and creator of Latina Made Not Maid. I mean, amazing. Talk about powerhouse and doing it all. How are you doing, Anna?
Hello.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it so much. I mean, wow, like she just went through with me everything that she does. And I'm just like, first question was like, how do you get it all done? How do you get all of that done? So please tell us.
I feel like in 2019 my whole like focus was consistency. That was like everybody was like, oh, you should have a word. Like, what's your word for the new year gonna be? Like I kept seeing that in my social media feed, and like I kept seeing it like on TV, and I started thinking, I'm like, what's my word gonna be? And my word was like consistency. And I was like, I need to like really have a plan so that I could try to do everything as best as possible. And for a couple months, I kept pushing Latina Made to like the back burner. And it, because like you said, I mean, being a mom, that takes up so much of your time. And that's like the number one priority, like above everything else. And then, you know, you have your job, right? Which is like the way that you pay your bills, right? Like that's another priority because that's what helps you put, you know, food on the table. But then Latina Made was my passion. And I kept saying to myself, like, I can't keep pushing that to the back. Like it just didn't feel right. Like I was like, this is important to me. So I need to dedicate time to it. So once I joined the 5 a.m. club, which you're also a part of,
Yes.
an amazing group of women that we kind of like push each other, and we wake up early and we try to get be the best versions of ourselves. Ever since I joined that, now I have those like 2 extra hours in the morning to dedicate to Latina Made. So that's really helped me kind of manage my time and plan out my week and list, you know, my goals and stuff. So that has definitely helped kind of like departmentalize my life. Like,
Yeah.
today you're going to do this and tomorrow you're going to do this. And so that has helped a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, that is like the mom secret. You always know moms being on schedules, right? Because it's everything about fitting everything in. And like, especially if you have multiple kids, because, and they're like older because they have all these things that they want to go to, these practices, these after school, these programs, and you have to fit everything in and like also have dinner every day and breakfast and every meal that you can think of. So it really is about that consistency in that schedule. And you said another important thing about, you know, there's like what we do, but then there's our passion and really living in our passion. So you mentioned that Latina Made, Not Made is your passion. So tell us about Latina Made. How did that come about? Why is that a passion of yours? Like what message is it that you're trying to send through that?
Yeah, so my friend Erica and she was asked to go and speak to a group of Latino students at Montclair State University, and she had her own t-shirt company on Etsy. Like she was making t-shirts and she was selling them, and she wanted to come up with a shirt to go and talk to these students. And she was like, oh, I want it. It was a group of it was a Latino student organization on campus.
Okay.
And she wanted to wear something that said like Latina, like something that promoted our culture. And she went on Google to look up Latina Made to make sure that it wasn't like copywritten. She was like, oh, maybe I can make a shirt that says that. And when she typed in Latina Made, it automatically changed it to MAID. And she was like, wait a minute, that's not what I was trying to say. And she got like pissed off, and she did the talk, and then she called me and she was like, we need to do something about this. She was like, this is wrong. And I was like, really? Are you sure that happened? She was like, try it yourself. So I went online and I tried it, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, this is wrong. Like, so she was like, I think that I should make these shirts to help like change the conversation. And me being an educator, like I was like, I think we need to add like an education component. Like it shouldn't just be like us selling these shirts. Like we got to tell people like, we got to change this. And I was like, maybe we should make a scholarship to help first generation Latinas so that they could understand that Like the stereotype is not, that's not the norm. Like we could be whatever we want. Like it doesn't have to be what we see on TV, what we see in movies, what we see in commercials, right? Like just because that's a stereotype doesn't mean that that's our reality, you know?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, that is such a beautiful reason to begin, because yes, we as Latinas, Black and brown in general, we're really fighting
Yeah.
these stereotypes that are imposed on us,
Yeah.
and these ideas of just how far we can actually go or what mode we fit in, right? And we've come very far, but the truth is that we're still living it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you said, I mean, this is like Google in 2018, 2019.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
you know?
when I went to one of my very first classrooms, it was probably my third year teaching. I was going to go, like teachers go the year before and the summer before the year starts, and you go and you decorate your classroom, right? And you do all this stuff. And I was teaching in a very white suburban neighborhood. And I remember I got the keys to my classroom and I was going to go into the building, and another teacher thought that I was there to clean. Like they thought that I was
My
there.
goodness.
Yeah, they thought that I was there as like part of the cleaning staff. And it's so funny because I became like best friends with all the cleaning staff just because, you know, they knew that I spoke Spanish. And in
Right.
that building, mostly everybody was who taught, mostly all the teachers were white or black. Like there were no Hispanic teachers really. So for me, and I was really young. I was like 24 at the time. And it really upset me. Like I was like, oh my God, like, wow, that's it. Like he saw me and he was like, oh, there's this little brown girl and she speaks Spanish and that's what she must be. There's no way
Right.
she could be a teacher. And it's like,
Yeah.
wow, like why? So, and there's so many people through Latina Made. I've gotten so many DMs of the same experience. So it's like, it's not just me. It's happened to all of us
Absolutely.
in some way, shape, or form. And a lot of people think like, oh, Latina Made Not Made, you guys are trying to put down maids. And it's like, absolutely not. Like that's a respectable job. It has helped put food on the table for many families and generations. And there's nothing wrong with it. What I find wrong is that generations to come, like young Latinas, I don't want them to think that that's like, there's nothing more than that. There's so
Yes.
many more things that we can be and that we already are, but they're not seeing it as much
Yes.
as other things, like being a maid, which is all over the media.
Absolutely. There's a two-part component, like you said, there is not only how people see us, but also what we grow and come to know within ourselves as to what we are supposed to be and the cap that we place, right? Because one of the things that, I mean, this is why I started Motivated Hustler Mondays, because that's why I started Reaching Heights, because I wanted to put Motivated Hustler Mondays. The whole point is to give role models, okay, to put role models out there for women entrepreneurs, especially, you know, us Latinas, Black and brown, like I say, to see these Black and brown women being entrepreneurs. That's my entire motive, because I feel like when I wanted to start my business, there was nobody in my circle and my family that I could ask on how to start a business, because that wasn't the level of success that they reached, right? It's very blue collar work and things like, you know, I was like the first generation to even go beyond, to get my college degree and go beyond. So there was nobody that I can go to say, how do I get this business going? How do I start a business? How do I do this? How do I do that? I couldn't find that within my own circle. I had to look outside of my circle and think bigger for myself.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't something that, you know, and not saying that my home didn't, you know, have ambitions. Like we have doctors in my family, but it wasn't something that for my, like, I believe was implemented so much as like you could be more than just a doctor, lawyer kind of typical things. That was like the highest. But to be creative and to think outside the box and be your own woman and be your own boss, that isn't as enforced, or that idea isn't seen. So there is that two part. It's about not only what people see us as, but what we, because of it, have been conditioned to see ourselves as, and the cap. Absolutely. So it's not to put down maids, but is that there's more.
Right. Right.
There's more. So I love that. That's why I mean, I think it's such important work what you're doing out here, and you're definitely an inspiration and a motivation to all these women doing it here. One is like the many hats, right, that you have, and then just the work that you are doing. So what do you see for the future for Latina Made?
I think you just touched on one of the things. I know for me, like I had the same experience. Like I was one of the first in my family to go to college, and I didn't have anybody that I could be like, how do I fill out this college application? What do I do
Right,
about what do I do about this essay that I have to hand in? How do I fill out, financial aid information? Where can I
right.
get a scholarship? What school should I apply to? I want this to be my major. What's a good school? Or can I go out of state? Like, is it possible for me to go beyond where I live? Like, so many things that I had no idea about. And it's because we come from immigrant families, and they came here to give us a better life, but they don't know how to navigate that.
Hmm.
So I would love, in the future, I think, thinking bigger, my big plan is I would love to be able to provide like one-on-one help to young Latinas that like can come to us and be like, I need help, I'm applying to college. And like that we could be like, here's another Latina, that's like, let's say if she wanted to be a teacher, or if she wanted to be a lawyer, right? We would find a lawyer so that she could sit down with them and they could mentor her. And she could be like, apply to
Absolutely.
this school, do this. This is a good scholarship for you. And then maybe like they could, have like a 2-year relationship where they could help each other until she's like on the right track. And then they're like, okay, she's good to go. You're on your own, type of thing. So I would love to have almost like a big brother, big sister thing, but just Latinas, like an older Latina to a younger Latina. Like,
I love that because I wanted to do a mentorship program since I graduated Hunter. So I love that because exactly what I'm talking about is that idea of the role modeling that I feel really lacks. So
we
girl,
need it.
I see future things,
Even
future things.
hopefully, like
Absolutely.
hopefully, but
Absolutely.
even like, let's say like us, right? Like you said, like we're entrepreneurs, we want to start our own businesses. Like I would love for Latinas who have their businesses to sit down with us also
Yeah,
and be like, this is what you need to do, like here's some advice. So it wouldn't just be, I think it wouldn't just be like high school girls and college girls. I think it would be just for all women, for us to kind of like just collaborate and help each other just grow, like just help
absolutely.
each other be better.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a great thing to look forward to the future. And so we've touched a little bit upon how you want this to impact the community already. But do you anything, I guess so far what I gathered is like you want to change the stereotype, you want to change the dialogue on, what Latinas can achieve. You also want to create some kind of mentorship program and showcase that, you can do this, you can be more, and where they can find the help, right? Find that mentorship. But anything in addition that you want, in which ways you wanted to impact the community?
I think just to make this a conversation, and it's changed already. Like at first, like I mentioned, like when we looked up Latina Made, what would come up was it would change it to MAID, and then the other thing was that a lot of pornography would come up. Like those were the two things. It was either like Latinas as maids or Latinas in like just terrible pictures. And now when you look up Latina Made, we come up. So that's like a good thing. We're like,
That's
yeah,
amazing accomplishment.
like it'll be 2 years in May. So in 2 years we got that done. But I would love for people to just start, like it's hard, I feel, because this administration, like we have, our president wants to build a wall, and he keeps saying that Latinos are like criminals and all this stuff. So I would just love for that to stop. Like for us to stand up for ourselves and be like, that's not true. Like we're hardworking people. We come to this country to give the next generation a better life. That's it. Like everybody has bad people. It's not just Latinos. So I would just love for that conversation to just end.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, with leading by example is a way to do that. Honestly, I think that we are doing the work to do that. But like you say, changing that Google search is primary
Yeah.
because we may within our circle know the truth or
Mhm.
for ourselves, but it's about getting to see the world that to see the same thing and to see us in the same way.
Yep.
So absolutely. What I think so we know what you want next, but um what inspires you and motivates you primarily to keep on going and to like want to reach more? Because like you say, it's easy to get boggled down by everything. It's easy to say, oh, this is too hard. Look at right now our president, like we're never going to defeat this. What really inspires and motivates you?
I think just I'm lucky enough that I have two of my own children, and that's, you know, like a personal motivation, but like I work with little kids on a regular
Yeah.
basis, and then I work with like college kids on a regular basis too. So it's just like that energy that they have, where like every single day I'm around people who think that anything is possible. Like little kids, they're just happy and bubbly, and they have these amazing questions, and it's like they're so curious, and it's like they have the world ahead of them, and it's like I just think we need to make it a better place for them. And it's like I see I that motivates me, being able to do that for my students, and then being able to do that for my two boys. Like for Martin Luther King Day, my kids are 5 and 7, and my 7-year-old, he was talking to me about Martin Luther King and how he learned about him, and he was like, "Mommy, you know, he helped all the black and brown people because they didn't treat us the same before." And my
Sorry.
oh, it's okay, girl,
Let
I
me
know.
I need a, she's about to cry. Let me pause the video. So, um, what motivates you? So for little kids and they're full of possibilities.
Yes, yes. So my students motivate me because they're like every day they have like these questions, and they don't see the world that we see, right? Like we're kind of jaded, right? And we see things like reality. They still see things, you know, in like this colorful, like, oh, everything is possible, and you know, life is wonderful. And my son, my 7-year-old, he was telling me that he learned about Martin Luther King, and it was just great to hear how he didn't understand that black and brown people weren't treated the same way back in the day. And
Right.
that just filled my heart. Like I'm like, in his head, he doesn't understand how that could ever happen, right? And it's like, how great is that they're like the next generation already feels like that. So it's like
Absolutely.
I feel like there's hope, you know. So I feel like that motivates me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so so in the future, you'll be having a lot more things, but how can somebody really just find you, get involved with Latina Made, and join the movement, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we have we just had our first community service event this past month. We helped feed 300 families at
Wow.
the community food pantry here in New Jersey. So we're going to try to do more community service events, because a lot of people reach out and they're like, how can we help? How can we help? What can we do? So there's that. If anybody ever wants to volunteer for any of our events, they can email me at Ana at LatinaMadeNotMaid.com. Also, we're Latina Made Not Made on Instagram, and also on Facebook, so they could find us any of those ways. We also have on our website, LatinaMadeNotMaid.com, we have articles. We feature a lot of Latinas that have told us their stories. We have we have lawyers, doctors, designers, entrepreneurs, makeup artists. We have a little bit of everything. They shared, all of them have shared their stories. And we also, we're on Etsy. That's where you could get the shirts. We have 10% of the proceeds go to our Latina scholarship, and we'll be giving our first scholarship in May.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been 2 years, so we're so excited that finally we're gonna be able to do it. We've been taking applications. The application deadline is March 18th. So
Wow.
in a couple weeks, we're shutting down, and we're gonna start looking at the applications. And then what else?
That's exciting.
Yeah.
To be able to give a scholarship is really exciting, honestly, because it's something that, I mean, it makes such a difference, you know.
We
I know
just
that for me, I wouldn't be able to go to college without a scholarship, so it
right,
makes all the difference.
and I mean, every little bit helps. Like, we know, like, a book scholarship, books cost a lot of money. Anything that we could be able to give a Latina, hopefully will be able to help even a little bit with their
Great.
classes.
So they could go on LatinaMadeNotMade.com and
Yes.
apply till March 18th to the
Yes.
scholarship.
Yep.
And it'll be great given in May,
Yep.
as well as find any volunteer opportunities and things like that. Well, that is amazing. I mean, you're doing amazing work. I swear to God, it's so inspiring. Like, it really, truly is. Because, I mean, you look at her and you meet her, right? And she's like so nice and so genuine. And it's really nice to see all the great things that you're doing. Like, it's almost like I'm blushing because I just feel, first, I feel humbled and honored to be like within the circle, but just to see that this kind of work is going out there, it makes me emotional because that's exactly what we're out here trying to do, try to really push forward.
Right.
I just remember myself being in that position that I didn't know how to do it, and then here you go, your organization doing it.
Right.
So I'm literally really emotional, like my eyes are watery because I
get
can see that the future, is better for us, for the little girl in me, for the little girl that I'm raising. It's better, it's brighter, and
Right.
it gets so hard with everything that's going on for you to believe that because you feel like it's getting worse, but to
Right.
see that there's warriors out there, really trying to make it happen, it really is inspiring and empowering. So thank
And
you for your work.
thank you. Every time I feel like it's hard, I get like what you just said. I get like a DM, or I get like a message from like on Facebook or something, like where somebody's like, "This is important," and I'm like, anytime I feel like tired, I'm like, "This is important, and it needs to be done." So like any little bit that I could do to kind of keep pushing forward, I'm gonna try to do it. And we just got our nonprofit status in January.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
I was gonna inquire on your nonprofit if you needed help with any of that. But what advice would you have for anybody out there that's like, I have this dream, I have no idea, I don't even know if I could do it, and I don't know how to go about it. What advice would you give?
I think just start, and be consistent. I'll go back to that. I feel like because we started 2 years ago, and there's so many things have happened in the past 2 years, like because there's so many little things that you have to get a logo, you have to get a website, you have to, like, there's so many, you have to, get your page on social media, you have to figure out, where am I going to get these shirts, and where am I, like, there's so many little things that go into it. And finally, now that it's been like a year and a half, almost 2 years, it's like, okay, now we got into a flow, right? So it's like, just keep at it. Like, it's like you're chipping away at like a rock, right? And you just keep going, but you don't know that, like, in the middle of that rock there's a diamond. If you just keep picking at it and picking at it. And it's just, I think it's just being consistent. It's just being like, just saying, like, I'm not going to give up until I get what I feel is possible. So
Right.
I think that's the only way, is to just not give up. It's going to be hard, but anything worth having never comes easy, ever.
Absolutely. You said it. Just take it little by little
Little by little.
and never give up.
Nope. Nope.
Yep, is the way to do it. Well, thank you so much. I'm again very honored and humbled.
Thank
And
you.
I'll drop all the handles to make sure that people go on there. But I appreciate it. Thank you, Anna, for your time.
I'm going to
We
share.
are all rooting for it. All right, guys. So remember to follow Latina Made Not Made, and to follow Reaching Heights and join the movement at any point with Latina Made to really help us progress. So here we are. Thank you.